it isn't my culture, it isn't where I come from, but I embrace that, and I embrace other people's culture, and I embrace other people's way of life, and his way of life and his sort of Dalai Lama, like, way of approaching everything, and this, he's like the,
right.
I don't know, he's like...
Let me ask you this. If humans had ears, what was your inspiration? What was the messages that you were letting the audience know?
It's actually funny because I wrote this one on the bus.
Wow.
There was this man. He was saying he probably had a mental illness, but that's not for me to say.
Right.
He was speaking his mind, like, completely, just yelling it at the top of his lungs, and nobody was listening. Like, and that was my kind of inspiration, and it was almost frustrating because what he was saying wasn't hurtful. What he was saying wasn't, he wasn't being disrespectful. He was saying whatever was on his mind to anybody who would listen, and nobody chose to listen. And I think it's frustrating in our culture and in our society when we actually choose not to listen to somebody who's trying to say something. And I think that's where ignorance really comes in, is we don't try to understand someone's perspective or point of view, and so we remain ignorant to it.
Right. And one of those things that we really try...
I think we fear what we don't understand, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people... I'm from New York. Like, I've seen a lot of crazy things on the train, a lot of homeless people and stuff like that. And even here, my experience, living here now in Corona, for a few months now, for a while now, I've seen homeless people. I've seen people, drink on the bus. I've seen people...
Right. It's a lot worse. To me, the number one line, to me, is a lot worse than what I've seen in any bus. In any public transportation, meaning that not the rapidity of the bus, the bus drivers are awesome. They're awesome. It's a comfortable ride. The buses are immaculate. They're awesome. However, the population that is getting on, they're not only working class, but there are people that are, they're really hurting. They're really, really hurting, and people that do need a voice,
Very much so.
And you don't get that you don't get that in New York all the time. You get working people. A lot of people have money, and they're doing well for themselves. Since the mayors, new mayors, really, they cleaned up.
Sort of the normal, but they're...
Then,
right.
You'll probably see, a lot more, whites. But if you're in, let's say the Bronx or Brooklyn or certain parts of, Manhattan or Queens, whatever, then you'll see, a lot more, crazy stuff going on. It really just depends on the environment. But it seems like here in Riverside, it's like, if you don't have a car, it most likely means, you don't have, the means, to, have a car, so you take...
you're worthless. It's stupid.
Right. So it's, it's sad. You don't, really see normal people on the bus anymore, especially here.
It's a tough city, man. Magnolia... Magnolia and La Sierra.
Forgotten city, like this whole Inland Empire. It's like everyone just focuses on, L.A. and San Diego. It's near the beach and the weather's, nicer.
Like the Atlantic, California.
Sure. Yeah, I just feel like people, give us a, a bad rep and say like, oh, people, in Riverside are, like low class or whatever. Like, it's like, can't say that about us. It's like we don't have the things that LA has. It's a bigger city, like.
Right. Yeah, it is a bigger. I think Riverside is an awesome city, and it could be made even better with more economic development attention. That's what I feel, and that would be great. And that's great that you're at RCC, and making an impact. And what we tell we try to let. And your featured guest. Whatever you think is real loud that should be those voices of those people that should be heard, or organizations that let us know. We'll definitely stay in touch. So that way, that's the whole mission of the show too. One of the missions is to let people be aware. Be aware of what? Be aware of what we feel that is real and loud. And that is, if it is economic development, that's what it is. If it's artistry, that's what it is. If it's something else,
That's more art. That's much of that.
Absolutely. There's a lot of art. That's great. Humanitarian causes. I know that that's one thing that that you deal with, and that's part of your life as well. What do you mean when you say you're a humanitarian?
Well, just something I've noticed in general is I think we settle too much. We in America in general, we do have human rights. We have that liberty, and we're so comfortable, and then we judge people on that, and it's not really fair. I believe in speech. I believe you should speak in whatever form or manner you prefer, I don't think that my poetry should be the same as somebody else's, and even in art,
Do you read other people's poetry by any chance? I'm sorry. Do you read other people's poetry?
Oh, I read everybody's poetry. I couldn't get just inspired by myself.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, of course. But it's a cause that has been lost, and I feel like people just get so frustrated that they just sort of give up, and, they say, well, this is it. No, you fight for your right. What's happening in the world is wrong. Notice that. Be aware of that, as you say.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to, make people do, just be aware of what's going on. That's, our mission statement. Question, do you feel like, human rights are being violated right now in Ferguson, Missouri, with all the, protesting going on over there? What happened with Mike Brown?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. It really is. And I read or listened to your previous message about your recording about the boy who died as well, and how you weren't slandering the NYPD or anything like that in New York over there, and I respect that as well, and I don't do that either. It's not my business to say, but people, I talk to people when I not so much an NYPD or versus a boy from the streets. That's not how I talk. It's a person versus a person. That's how simple it is. And shooting someone who was unarmed is wrong. Period.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I feel like a lot of rights are being violated right now. Like, we have freedom of speech, and to me, it's just like the 1960s all over again. The civil rights movement. It's like black people are fighting for their rights again. And it's not fair, because I thought
they've never had to stop.
Right, it's like we're constantly fighting, and just the other day in Ferguson, another man was killed. He stole like 2 soda bottles from the store. And
that's it? And you're gonna...
Yeah.
No, keep going on.
Yeah. He left the soda bottles, on the ground and stuff. And one of the guys was just like, yo, recording it was just like, yo, you're crazy for this, yo, blah blah blah. And then the cops pulled up, and the black man who stole the 2 sodas was just yelling at the police shoot me. And then they were just put your hands up, stop, stop right there. And he just kept saying, nah, shoot me, and they shot and killed him. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even tase him. They went right to shooting the man, not in the leg one time. They shot him to, they really did try to kill him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sad.
For me,
they
that's
even put the handcuffs on him after they killed him.
Yeah. I just think it's just like putting a bottle of beer in a driver's seat. It's like when you put a gun in a man's hand that doesn't respect humanity as you think. That's what it is to me, and it's just obviously he didn't literally mean shoot him, but it's amazing.
Right.
I think he was trying to prove a point. Okay, I could, if I step to the store, I'm gonna get shot now. It's
Yeah. Like
know,
you're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, it's like if someone stole something from the store, you know, you don't get the death penalty. You know, you probably get like what, you know, shoplifting, it's a minor charge. You know, it's petty stuff. You know, petty crimes. I mean, someone shouldn't be killed over something like that. He was just trying to prove a point, but he had to lose his life over it, which is crazy.
Yeah, I bet they didn't even get to read him his rights.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
Read his rights and none of that. You know, all his rights are being violated.
Wow. And talking about rights and violations of those rights, I know that you had, you know, mentioned off record that you're into activism, and that you had mentioned that activism is your poetry, and that you write to just get out your beliefs and to help other people get that out. I know that you're gonna be doing an open mic September 25th in Floasis in Riverside, California. So that's Floasis. And we put up on Twitter the Floasis page, so everybody check that out to see what's happening in Riverside, and that's what you're going to perform. How is that place helping with voice?
Well, I first went there with my friend who sort of runs the whole thing, named Deonte Burks. She is such an incredible woman who has such a passion for spoken words and speaking your mind, regardless of race, background, you know, wherever you come from, you come here and you come to speak. And they also bring dance and they bring music into there as well. It's predominantly spoken words, but I love how welcoming the whole environment is, and you know, we snap, and I'd never really been in an underground poetry setting until I went to RCC. That's where I met her.
Nice. And is RCC known for having promoting the arts, especially the spoken? Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
If a student wanted to get involved with the spoken arts at RCC, what would you recommend?
Well, a lot of the spoken arts are outside of the school. There aren't a lot of clubs that are really, I don't think they really know how to go about it. I'm not going to say they're bad or good or anything, but I think a lot of it is the students going, and a lot of it is down in the dance department where it happened, is you have artists of all backgrounds coming into the dance department. So you have musicians and poets that come into the dance background, and then they bring other artists to their sort of dwelling place where they kind of do their art, and that's what sort of happened. So I recommend being involved in any art, and then finding people that go outside of RCC and that really do what they believe, that really do their art, and yeah.
Yeah, and that if you guys want to check out where Floasis is, go to their Facebook page, Floasis, FLOASISS. They're at 3575 University Avenue in Riverside. Check them out. There are Twitter. We follow them on Twitter as well, so check our following so you can get to see things that Real Loud Radio really supports. Bekah, we want to play a track, and it's called Blackout Blues Part 2. Can you tell us a little bit about it before we go into it?
Blackout Blues Part 2 is probably my most frustrating piece. As a dancer, it's really hard, and I'm both a modern dancer and a ballet dancer, and I was talking to somebody more recently about how I wasn't able to be a swan queen because of my color. And it's a little, and it was a heated argument, I'll tell you. But
okay.
What was that?
Yeah,
I heard the color of your skin or something.
Yeah, I couldn't. Like, I wasn't allowed to be in a white tutu, and I wasn't allowed to represent the classical white swan of,
don't even get started with that stuff.
Don't get them started.
No,
that's ridiculous.
Because
I hate that.
Yeah, and it's fuck tradition sometimes. That's what I gotta say. You
I
know?
think a lot of people are like, you know, stuck in their ways,